The universe of Destiny is huge. There's a ton of characters, there's a ton of planets, there's a ton of heroes and stories to be told, stuff we've only hinted at, like who built the tower, what were some of the battles that happened long ago, what are the secrets that are buried under the moon. So I think there's a lot of potential for really cool stories, and in Rise of Iron we're taking one of those and going deeper and delivering a bunch of new content. So new raid, new Crucible modes, new story content.
I think also that I know Chris was really focused on thematically making sure it all kind of fit nicely together. Yeah, so it was fun to see you kind of come up with the Saladin angle.
I'm trying to put all of that content together over a cohesive story and theme, the Iron Banner and the Iron Lords. And at its core, if you want players to get engaged and understand what they're doing, it's critical that there's a simple story that they can follow along. With Rise of Iron, there's a simple story. It is the Siva faction of Fallen have unearthed this horrible plague from long ago. The Iron Lords once sealed it away, but it's come back, and you have to help Lord Saladin seal it away for good, and in the process become an Iron Lord yourself. So we think that's a pretty simple story. I think there's a lot of great characters that we're going to introduce to players. There's a lot of cool new spaces to discover and stuff.
As a starting point, we were shooting for something like House of Wolves, and it's bigger than that. You have a whole new zone. The Plaguelands is a really special, open, large space, lots of secrets. The social space and that first mission are bigger than I think we were hoping for.
Taking back the social space,
really
like
cool.
Ascending the mountain and then killing all the Fallen and then coming back, and Lord Saladin's come in and the characters have set up and there's wolves around. I think that's a really cool moment.
There's a bunch of really neat things within the missions themselves. There's a gondola experience, which is really unique, something we haven't done. The final mission and final encounter is really fun.
I think the final mission turned out really, really fun. Taking a lot of the elements of the story, and it all kind of comes to a head in this one encounter. I think they'll definitely enjoy it. The other thing that I think is really cool is that we've introduced these new artifacts that have these new powers named after each of the Iron Lords. And there's this room at the top of the temple where as you acquire each one of those artifacts, there's a corresponding statue in this mausoleum room, and when you power it up, it lights the fire, and each person will be able to see, how much of the artifacts they've collected.
The thing that we're hoping is that players are going to want to collect all of them, and then depending on their mood or the activity they're playing, they're going to adjust their artifact.
And hopefully they're finding new ways to pair that with existing exotic weapons and different perks in their ability tree and stuff like that. When we were first working with the story team on this release, we tossed around a lot of words, like what are the right words that we want players to feel? What is the tone of this release? And so nostalgia was one of them, heroism, memory. So there's this really interesting dynamic of this character, Lord Saladin, who has nostalgia and longing for this thing that happened long ago. His friends, sacrificed themselves to basically save humanity. At the same time, you as a player are returning to these spaces that you are familiar with. We're returning to the Cosmodrome, the wall where you first started your journey as a player, but it's collapsed and there's snow covered over.
And there's a bunch of other really nice subtle ways to support the nostalgia. Sepix comes back. We all killed Sepix many, many times, and so it's neat to see that version of him and the Gjallarhorn being reintroduced. They fit together nicely.
On top of that, there's this transition. So Lord Saladin is sort of closing this chapter. He's putting his demons to rest, but at the same time, he's passing on the torch, and you're becoming one of the new Iron Lords. We know players are hungry for content, and Rise of Iron's gonna satiate it for a little bit, but I think it's really important that Destiny is a living world. It's a game that's continuing to evolve, and so we'll be trying to keep that content drip going as much as we can.